What's up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be reviewing So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. And so before I give my comments on the book, kind of wanted to speak about why I chose to read this book. I was like looking at passion or careers or something on Amazon, and I probably saw this book, and I was kind of amazed because I didn't realize that Cal Newport had written this book. And Cal Newport's well known for books like Deep Work and Digital Minimalism. I'm actually reading Digital Minimalism right now, so I'm like, oh wow, he's gonna write about passion and careers. This has got to be like, it's probably like this thorough deep dive into it. So yeah, that's one thing. And then the other thing is Derek Sivers, this online blogger that I had been reading about and reading some of his blogs, recommended this book, had a pretty good review of it. Come to find out, he's actually featured in the book, so it makes a little bit more sense why he liked it so much. But yeah, those are kind of the reasons I chose to read this book, mainly because it's like passion and career, and I'm trying to like learn more about passion and just my own passion in pursuing that. Part of these videos is I really like self-help, so pursuing that and learning more about that. But this book is not really that. This book is not like, so I guess I'll get to my overall review and recommendation. My recommendation is not, do not read this book. To me, it's extremely biased and it's extremely negative. So I would not recommend this book at all. And you could even read the Amazon reviews. They're kind of similar. So cut to the chase. Cal says there's no such thing as passion, and people that pursue their passions are like fools. And that's his viewpoint, and he comes into that with his viewpoint, and he never explores the other side of it. So it's basically, if you pursue your passion, you're gonna fail. Don't even try. And it's kind of amazing because there's so many things he didn't explore, like artists and musicians and rappers. People that, think of people that do art that's not even like super popular at that time, or is like antisocial or outside of social norms. Why else would you do that unless it's your passion? If you're going against something completely than what society accepts, most people want to fit in. Why would people pursue these things other than the reasons of passion? So he didn't even explore that really. He just totally said passion doesn't exist. And that brings me to like the first part of this book. The book is broken into 4 rules that you need to do, to have career success. Since there isn't passion, and most people think passion exists, they're pursuing passion because they want career fulfillment. And the true way to achieve career fulfillment is by listening to Cal and doing his 4 rules. And the 4 rules are: number 1, don't follow your passion. Number 2, be so good they can't ignore you, which is the book's title. Number 3 is turn down your promotion. And rule number 4 is think small but act big. These rules are kind of random. It seems like he just wanted to put his book in a rule format. They're not like must follow rules. And then within each of these rules, he has like these other rules and laws and tangents that he goes on. It's just very confusing. So like, I think in summary, like this book is extremely biased, and the passion doesn't exist. And then also it's poorly written. It's poorly written to like rules and then laws that you have to follow. And the first rule is don't follow your passion. And all he does in there is define why passion doesn't exist, and that it was created by this book called What Color Is Your Parachute? And I've read What Color Is Your Parachute because I've thought about changing careers. And what that book does is it helps you change careers by exploring your skills. And it helps you define your skills. And then if you want to get another job, it shows you how to go from one job to another. And then hopefully the other job is more fulfilling. But I don't think, it's not really about passion. It's not like follow your passion. It doesn't tell you to start your own business or anything like that. Or it doesn't promote that. He says, he thinks it did, and he says they created this whole passion thing, and since then there's been a marketing industry behind this. But it's so false because, like I said before, there's so many artists and so many people that have something inside of them that they have to pursue, and they pursue it no matter what. So it's like, for him to say passion doesn't exist is just it's just bias, right? Like it's so obvious in so many places he didn't explore. But I think that's kind of where you get Cal's personality, because he's kind of a very, I don't want to, he's kind of a boring person. I don't mean like him personally is like the way he writes or anything like that. I'm just saying his life choices, right? He's been this author he tells you how to be a perfect grade A student, and he tells you how to focus on like deep work, right? Like put everything away and just focus solely. He's this very like strict down, his personality is like very strict, right? So to him, like passion doesn't really exist. And you might think I'm biased against him, right? But then all you have to do is read the end of the book where he's like, I'm a grad student. I don't really have a career. I've never had a career, but I'm about to be a professor, and I just want to make sure that it's okay to be a professor, and there's not like some passion I should be pursuing, right? Meanwhile, he's a self-help author, and the type of professor he wants to be is a computer science professor. So it seems like he's kind of following his passion for self-help and then keeping another foot in computer science just to make sure he's safe. So that's kind of where I think where this bias comes from him. And that's why I think he wrote this book. But I'll go through the rules briefly. The first one is passion. Don't follow your passion. And then he gives an example of a yoga person trying to start their own yoga studio and another person that becomes a monk. And he's like, look at them. They pursued their passion and they failed. But the two people he defines weren't like successful in their lives already. I think they pursued spirituality because they had like an emptiness in their soul, and they pursued spirituality through yoga and being a monk. But it wasn't profitable, so they weren't financially successful. To me, those are bad examples, right? Like he just picked those out of the air to prove his point. But I also think people and I don't think those are those people's passions either. I think, like I said, that they went to spirituality type of things to fulfill an emptiness that they couldn't get from like regular jobs. And then when he's speaking about rule number 2, about be so good they can't ignore you, this section talks about developing a craftsman mindset. And what he means by a craftsman mindset is developing skills and what you can do for other people. Versus a passion mindset, it's more of like what I can get out of it, is what the way he phrases it. So like if you think of what you can give other people, you start developing these skills, and you will accumulate all these skills that'll make you so useful that you'll get a more fulfilled career, because you'll be able to have the things in your, if you develop all these skills, you'll be able to have the things in your career that make it a more fulfilling career, which Cal says are creativity, impact, and control. And if you develop those things, then you'll have a really great career and you'll be really happy. But in order to do that, you have to have like a really good job, and you have to have a good environment. And a good environment, he says, is you have to have enough opportunities to distinguish yourself. You have to focus on things that you view are useful, and that you have to work with people you like. But what Cal doesn't know, because he doesn't have his career, is that in a lot of workplaces where people want to leave and pursue their passion, it's because they don't have those things. And it's really hard to find those things in a lot of workplaces. So he's like, do this craftsman stuff, but you have to have this perfect environment to develop this craftsman mindset. So you could like go your whole career trying to go to a perfect workplace to develop a craftsman mindset, when you could have been pursuing a passion and being profitable, or pursuing a passion and marrying that up with profitability. And then the next rule of turn down the promotion, basically what he says here is that, you have to turn down your promotions or theoretical promotions, because you might get too much responsibility, you might get overburdened. And if you get overburdened, you won't be able to develop your skills, or you might not have control, or your job might take away control from you. So turn down your promotion and just keep on building up those skills. And it might not be worth it in the short term, but in the long term, you'll have so many skills that you'll be so good people can't ignore you. And you'll achieve career fulfillment from that. Basically, you'll achieve career fulfillment from just being a skill master of developing all these tiny skills that everybody's going to love. And his last rule of think big and act small, here he goes over this thing like where he talks about you'll have all these skills, but you still need something bigger. And that something bigger is purpose. It's like you have to have this other purpose. And he gives an example of a doctor who didn't want to be a doctor, but she found purpose because she was helping people. through her research. So she ended up loving it. But to me, this is like, it's either passion, the same thing as passion, or passion congruent, right? Like I think people have passions like music and other things like that. But if they don't, then their passion can be like things like helping people, like he says here. But here he talks about like purpose and meaning and something bigger than yourself that you have to be working towards. And to me, that's something similar to passion. So it's like he has all these things in his book that point towards passion, but he just chooses to ignore it. So that's the last part, is like you need to be this skilled person. But once you've developed all of those skills, then you still need a bigger purpose, or what I would say is a passion. So that's the summary of So Good They Can't Ignore You. I just don't like the book. But what do I think? I think there is such thing as a passion. And I think the people that do have passion, it's hard to ignore that passion and then just be a craftsman, mindset person, just developing these robotic skills like Cal wants you to. I mean, be like robotic like Cal. If you have this passion, you're going to want to pursue it. But he talks about financial viability in this book, and I agree with that, right? Like you have to pursue your passion because it's inside of you, if you do have a passion. But at the same time, you need to think about profitability and making money and how you're going to make money, and make sure to incorporate that. You can't ignore that, because we all need financial independence and autonomy and control, like he says. So I believe that people need to pursue their passions, but you should pursue financial viability. But he also says you need to pursue financial viability. You need to have financial viability before you even start. I disagree with that, because there's tons of artists, tons of people that follow their passion first, craft it till they get really good, and then they become financially viable. I think there's things you can do to help before that happens, like have a job or a part-time job, until you get good enough in your passion that it becomes financially viable. But I don't think you need to wait until it's perfectly financially viable to pursue your passion. So in conclusion, I don't think this book is right. I think there is such thing as passion. I don't think you need to read it if you believe in passion. So who is this book for? I think it's for people like Cal, right? Where you're about to jump into a boring career and you want to do that because it's safe, and you want somebody to tell you that it's okay to be safe. Then this is the book for you. Or let's say you have a friend or a spouse or a loved one who you want them to pursue that safe, boring career, and then get them this book and you'd be like, see, passion doesn't exist. You don't need to follow your passion. Those are the type of people that I would give this book, because this book isn't bad. It's not well written because it's completely biased. And I don't think the premises are right, or I don't think Cal's viewpoint is right. So that's my review on So Good They Can't Ignore You. Like this video if you like the content, and make sure to subscribe to get my other book reviews. Thanks for watching.